All right, guys. So I've got Sarissa here from Dallas. Sarissa, you guys are in the office. I see you guys in the office. Is that happening?
Hi. Yes, we've had me and Samantha and Natalie up here daily, and then we usually have, up to 3-ish people that stop in. We also had the Waxahachie team, Ellis County team up here yesterday, business planning and stuff since they just joined BKCO, and so it's been awesome. I love having people here.
Nice. We just had an ALC meeting yesterday, and they don't want us to go in the office. So it's just the most bizarre. It's all been bizarre, but we are champions, and we will champion right through it. Cecelia, so tell us a little bit about yourself. This is the first time that I'm meeting you, and some of us are meeting you for the first time. Tell us about you.
So my name's Cecelia Davis. I live in Royce City. I have 3 kids, a wonderful husband that has helped me kind of do all of this and been a huge support. I work the DFW area, and last year I closed 67, 80% of those being internet leads.
Okay, so give us a range of your kids' ages. Like, are they like big kids, small kids, just so we have a perspective?
So my baby is 14. And then I have a 23-year-old, a 26-year-old, and then I have 2 other little people that call me that are 7 and 3.
Okay, I got it. And okay, well, let's just start where you ended. 80% of your business was internet leads. Like, what does that mean? And like, what are you doing to close that many internet leads?
So I wanted to learn something. I've never been like traditional, like for sale by owners, expireds. So I learned internet leads, and I've been able to convert them at a high level. One of the things a lot of agents do is you get an internet lead, you call it 2 times, it's a bad lead. For me, I just call and stay consistent, and text and email, and I don't give up. Either they change their number, they tell me not to call, and I still call the next month. So doing that, I've built relationships, and I have people that registered on my website years ago that, because I've stayed consistent, when they want to buy a house or there's a referral, they contact me.
Okay, so like if I'm an internet lead coming in today, like what's your initial process? Can you walk me through that?
So when a lead registers online, you have to be quick, because one of the things, they not only registered on your website, they probably went to Zillow, realtor.com. So they've gone to multiple websites, and it's going to be who calls the fastest and who will set the appointment first. So it's all a game. It's just a numbers game. For me, it's about 20 contacts for 1 appointment.
Okay, so 20 contacts for 1 appointment. And so you're calling them, are you calling them once that day, or are you calling them multiple times that day? Like what's your normal process for that?
So when they first come in, they get a phone call. If they don't answer, I do not leave a message, but I send a text and an email, and then try again later in the day.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. And how do you handle like the people who are like, why are you calling me? Like, I didn't sign up for anything, like that whole, like the ones that are like, just kind of mean.
To me, it's just a game to get them to talk or to set the appointment. One of the things when they sign up online, they do, even though they don't admit it, they do acknowledge that they are going to have an agent reach out. And a lot of times, if you're the 5th, 6th, 10th agent that's called, they're annoyed. Mm-hmm. And so it's just trying to diffuse that and get them, like, let them vent. That's been huge for me. Just let them vent, have compassion and understanding, and try to set the appointment.
What's an example of how you would diffuse somebody?
Well, a lot of times if somebody calls and they're being argumentative, a lot of people will shut down and just kind of end the call. Okay, thank you, have a good day. It's more, okay, well, what can I do to help you? I understand you're frustrated. I understand you're upset that 15 people have called you, but what are you looking for and what do you need? And that kind of gets them to calm down.
Okay, so instead of going into like apologizing and just letting them off the hook, instead you're saying, hey, I totally get it. I understand. What is it that you need, right? Like you're getting back to helping them.
Yes.
Okay. And then what happens when you have, Alicia from our San Antonio team asks, when you have false information, because people put in false information, what resources are you using to find their correct information, or are you messing with that at all?
So if they have a good phone number or an email, I do try to pursue those. Either you can find them on Facebook, social media. I closed Daffy Duck. I've closed Mickey Mouse. I mean, there's several like just crazy ones. Like we had one that came in that the first name was Youve and the second was must be Dragon. So when we would call, we always made it a game. Hey, Mr. Dragon, like, how can we help with your home search? Well, 6 months later, that turned into a listing and a buyer because we stayed consistent and kept calling, and they thought it was funny. So,
What's your initial script when you call, just so we know?
so for me, I just call and say you registered online and just wanted to see how I can help with your home search.
Okay, so nothing like out of this world that we haven't heard before, guys, right? So it's just, at this point, it's a matter of consistency is what I hear, Cecelia.
Yes, and keep it simple, and just try to set the appointment the first call. Usually the ones that I can meet within 24 to 48 hours have a higher conversion than somebody that's 6 months out and you don't ever talk to.
What happens if they're not ready for you to set an appointment with the first call? What's your process for that?
So like yesterday I was calling leads, and I set 4 appointments, all for yesterday. And so I just set the appointment and was able to make it in my schedule or have people help me show if I'm not available. And so with that, out of the 4 people that were all new yesterday, I submitted 3 offers. So, but if I wouldn't have been able to show the people, they would have found somebody else because they wanted to see the house yesterday.
Do you ever get any leads that are, they're like 6 months out? Does that ever happen?
What was that? Sorry.
Do you ever get any leads that are like 6 months out?
Yes. So on those, you just put them in a longer nurture. I'm just going to check in with those if somebody tells you they're 3 months out, you want to call in a month because something will change, and also just staying top of mind to them. So I always try to call every 2 weeks and check in and just kind of see where they're at. But yeah, I mean, I've got people that I just closed somebody 2 months ago that came in on my website in 2012.
Okay. And okay, so people are coming into your website. Where else are you getting those internet leads from? Is it some Zillow? Is it some realtor.com? Is it like a whole bunch of stuff? Give us an idea of like, what does that platform, I guess, look like?
So I would say about 60% of my closed last year were Zillow leads. I know a lot of people don't like those, but I built my Zillow and I get referrals that I don't pay for. So I'm not paying Zillow for leads, but I'm getting leads from them. I also do Facebook ads, and I've learned those at a high level. So those are a little further out. It's not something like Zillow. A lot of those are immediate. Like they want to go see a house right now. And Facebook, you're looking at 3 to 12 months out. So there's more of a nurture process with those than with the Zillow.
Okay, so walk us through Zillow. Like, how have you built your Zillow profile? Like, what are some of the secrets that you can share with us that we can potentially do to get those kind of results in a year or 2 or 3?
So for me, what I've done is I've built all of my social media platforms. Redfin, if you go to Redfin, I look like I'm the top agent for all of DFW. So I have people that go to Redfin and then they call me and they say, hey, we saw you all over Redfin, so we want you to list our house. And it's like, okay. Same with realtor.com, Zillow. I've built a big social media presence that I've met with people and they're like, oh, you're the realtor I see all over my Facebook. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And so it's kind of cool to get leads that I pay very little for.
So you're not shy.
No, not at all.
But you also don't come across as like super like high energy, right? So like, what's your personality like in general?
So I'm pretty laid back. And so that's a lot of my clients like that too, because I don't ever push them to buy a house. Most of my clients though, I do not show more than 5 houses. If we have to look at more than 5 houses, we need to have a talk and find out why. I try to do a strong or consultation that if they tell me they're looking for a 4-bedroom home and all of a sudden they want to go look at a 2-bedroom, I want to find out what changed. I mean, did you get rid of a kid? I mean, what happened? And so, and then just being caring and more of a friend to them than, hey, I want to sell you a house. I want to sell you a house. To me, it's not about the paycheck. It's about helping others and for them to achieve their home ownership.
That makes sense. That makes sense. How do you hold any listings, or do you just work with buyers?
I do listings too. Last year I did 19, so I did more listings last year than I usually do.
Okay, so would you say that any of your leads are coming off of your listings, or how do you see that happening?
Yes, so I run Facebook ads for all of when I do a listing, and I typically, for about 78 cents a lead, get anywhere from 80 to 120 leads off of my listing.
Interesting. And do you run this on your business page?
I do, and then I run a lot of just ads and sales funnels. And so kind of like when you go to Google and you search like Home Depot, you're looking for a paintbrush, and then all of a sudden all over Facebook, all you see is this paintbrush, and it's like, wow. Well, for me, what I've done is figured out how to do that for people looking for houses. So people will be on their Facebook and all of a sudden, hey, what's your rowlett home value? And they start putting it in. Well, then they're connected with me, and
Cecelia, how did you figure all this out?
So for me in 2012, when I decided I wanted to go full-time real estate, you kind of have to find your niche. You see a lot of agents, and it's like, okay, what do you like? And it's like, well, I do open houses, I do for sale by owners. Well, you never master one of those, and so you're just kind of out running around doing everything, and then at the end of the year, it's like, I only sold 2 houses, and my goal was 20. So for me, it was just finding what I liked and then mastering that. And so I found people that were doing internet leads at a high level, and I contacted them and asked them, what are you doing? Can I shadow you? Can I do this? And so doing that, and any class on Facebook leads, funnels, anything like that, I took it. And so with that, I've mastered, and then just trial and error. I mean, everybody's going to have a system that works or doesn't work, but you can tweak it. Like for me, I don't mind calling people multiple times a day. I don't mind, if they cuss you out and hang up on you, I'll call them again next month and just check in and ask if they're having a better day. And so with that, they start thinking stuff is fun, and it's funny.
It sounds to me like you're on this path to mastery, right? Like you're not waiting for something to happen for you. You're making it happen. And so on that topic, Rob Lenza from our San Antonio team, his question is, how long did it take approximately before you felt like you were like that household name when it came to social media?
I would say about 12 to 18 months to consistently get it out there. And you have to stay consistent. You have to always be building your stuff. You can't just create a profile and then disappear. Like for me, I just started using TikTok, but it was more of a joke with my daughter. But I just got a referral for somebody because my name's Realtor Cecelia, so they think I'm a realtor, they think my stuff's funny, and so they want to buy a house with me. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. So everybody that's on my Facebook thinks I'm a shoe. I buy a lot of shoes and wine. So that's just, I guess, what I'm known for, and everybody knows that. So just staying consistent is the biggest thing.
So you didn't just wake up one day and decide to put it as a goal and do it that week and then expect results, I'm hearing.
No, it's a process, but you do have to have a goal. For me, I'm very goal driven. And so, and I reward myself, but I reward myself big. So if I have a goal to execute 10 next month, it may be go buy my new car or go on a trip or a pair of shoes. So you have to have a plan, and you have to have a goal, and you have to make it work. I mean, you can't say I'm going to sell 60 houses this year. The end of the year come and, oh, I sold 2. It's like, well, what happened? And a lot of agents don't know. I don't know. I only sold 2.
So, and Sarissa, you can jump in anytime. I'm hearing you, and I hear you sold 67 houses last year. I hear that that you've mastered at least one lead generation lever, which is the internet leads. Not just generating them, but closing them, right? Because I mean, there is a surplus of leads. There's always enough leads. It's just converting them. So then what went through your head when you decided, you know what, I'm actually not going to be on my own. I'm going to partner with Sarissa and the Bankini team. Like, walk us through that. Like, why'd you do it?
So for me, I know that I could build my team, and I could build where I want to go. Every year I've reached my goals, but I know if I partner with Ben and Sarissa, I'm going to do it faster. I'm going to have a stronger team. I'm going to have the support that I need, all the tools, the resources. I've been meeting with Sarissa we've been friends for a couple of years. And one of the things that really attracted me to her and wanted me to be in business with her is it's always about me. It's never about she wants to sell 10 houses a month and she wants me to sell. It's how can she help me reach my goals? And so for me, that's huge because she cares about me and not just putting money into her pocket, if that makes sense.
Thanks, girl. Plus, we just really I can tell from the moment I met her a few years ago, that like she's the kind of girl who knows what she wants. She doesn't make excuses, and she just goes out and gets it. And she has mastered this craft. And what's cool is she's still super humble. She's been following Ben for years and a big Ben fan, but she's still humble enough to say, like, I know I don't know everything. And how can we partner to get her where she wants to go, right? So, Cecelia, what is one of your goals and one of the reasons why you did partner with Ben and I? Like, tell us more about that.
So for me, I want to be an expansion partner, and I want to do coaching and coach other agents. And so this is a huge opportunity for me to be able to do that. My goal this year is to an ISA, a buying agent, and a showing agent. And I know with the systems and the models that I can build that and build it at a higher level than me out doing it on my own.
Yeah, and one thing that gets Cecelia excited is like even just the opportunities with forward coaching, which, as you guys know, with our opportunity model, she actually already qualifies for, interviewing for that process and going down that route. Because if I recall, I think it's 49 sales a year qualifies you to have that opportunity, right? It unlocks that opportunity. One thing Cecelia and I have talked about is, okay, yes, that's a goal and you already qualify, but what needs to get into place right now in your business in order for you to start doing that and not have your business fail, right? So Cecelia, do you want to talk about what your current team looks like, before you joined us recently, and what I know you had mentioned, getting somebody to help you on the buy side, because there's a lot of missed opportunities. Even though Cecelia is doing amazing things, she and I have both chatted that she's leaving a lot of opportunities on the table, which is so cool to think about, like what's possible. So will you tell us a little bit about who's on your team?
So last year it was myself, and I have a transaction coordinator that kind of holds everything together. And then I had a couple agents that when I needed help showing, they would help, and I would just pay them like $25 a house. But it was just me and a TC last year.
Yeah, and when we talk about this, Cecelia has quite a large database. She's been using Privity for a long time. And we're realizing that if she just starts adding to her team and having success through other people, she's easily going to double this, which is so exciting.
Cecelia, can I jump in and ask you, how big have you built your database, just for the rest of us to have an idea?
So right now I have over 10,000 people that are in my database.
Okay. So this is between like your sphere, this is between your people who have come in, you know, from internet leads, past clients, it's everybody, right?
Yes.
Okay. So who on this call has, just a show of hands, who has like 500 people in their database, at least 500? Okay. So a lot of people have started, like, you know, you've got your runway, you've started. Okay. Who's got like 1,000? Anybody have 1,000? 1,000 or more? Okay. What about 2,000? 2,000 or more? Anybody have over 3,000? Can you unmute yourself if you have over 3,000? And just tell us, I've got 3,000.
I think it's just probably me.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, Cecelia, which I didn't expect to get out of this call, is you have been really, really focused on building a big database. Like when Gary Keller says your business is your database, you hear my business is my database.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So
what Cecelia said to me last week, which was just like, my mind was like, she goes, I literally only am really talking to the people that are ready to go now. And I was like, oh my gosh, because I mean, number one, if she had the ability to talk to more people, she would convert at a substantially higher level. But also with her doing the majority of the showings, she sometimes is out like crazy. And she said to me, sometimes I can't get them in my car fast enough, so I lose them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we can solve all of this, right? So when you think about our opportunity model, number one, even just having one of our agents help show this past weekend relieved Cecelia. She was now in 2 places at once because she had a showing agent. And, you know, we've talked about your database is massive. Probably for Cecelia, her next hire should be an ISA, right? Or an agent on the team that is really skilled with their scripts that can convert as well, right? Or both. So it's just super cool.
I'm getting so many private messages right now on chat. Let's dig into this a little bit, Cecelia, because that's a big number. I didn't expect it to be so big, so I'm excited. Okay. Let's talk. How long did it take you to build to 10,000 people, right? It wasn't overnight. I know that. Walk me through like when you started building this.
So that's been since 2012.
2012. Okay. So this is a 8-year process. This isn't overnight. Were you building at the same level you are now, or like did you have like years where you had bigger growth, and what attribute to that?
So learning like the Facebook leads, I have a lot of those that are coming in. So that's some days I can generate 60 for like $9. Other days, I mean, it's 20. I mean, it's the lowest. And so it's just getting all of those in. Like yesterday, I was just calling leads and set 4 appointments. My afternoon was I did not have appointments. And then all of a sudden it was like, I have 4. And so, and it's just a lot of days. I mean, if you call people and they want to go look now, but you don't have time, having a showing assistant has helped a lot.
Okay. So from my experience, in doing ads, like we have Grant, who actually does all of our teams, like Google and Facebook, like in general, that's where the leads all come from, right? But going back from just if I were doing an ad by myself right now today, are you finding that you're getting better results when you're posting your property that's for sale? Like what? Because I mean, everybody's posting something. Why are they going to you versus somebody else, I guess is the question. Like what makes your ad better?
So I advertise my listings when I have them, but a lot of times I'll find like a new construction house that is $250,000. They're offering $10,000 in closing cost. And so I market those and I get a lot of people. Or if you market like if there's a down payment assistance program in an area and you can market that and try to get buyers in, there has to be a catch to get them to go to your ad. So it has to be more than just a house, like to inquire about. There has to be something for them.
Okay, you've mastered the call to action. That's what I wanted to get at. You have a call to action that is valuable to them. Not only is it new construction, not only is that new construction, you know, giving $10,000, you're adding something else to it. And that's causing them to sign up on your website versus somebody else's website. Is that pretty accurate?
It is, yes. And it has to be appealing to them because they get a ton of ads for houses. And so if there's no, I guess, makes them feel like they're getting something for free, then they typically don't click through.
Okay, so you're not just posting, I have a new listing in, you know, I don't know, Royce City, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Like nobody cares about that, right? Am I correct in that?
Correct. They want to get something, and they feel like if you send them about a market value report, or if you send them listings, or you know, connect them with this builder that's going to give them $10,000, they've won. They've got something, and that's their goal. Everybody wants to get something.
Okay, let's talk a little bit. So you're setting these appointments. Are you doing a buyer consult first, or are you going on the showing appointment? And what's your thought process, and how do you make sure your time's not wasted?
So for me, I do a buyer consult, and I typically connect them with a lender before I meet. So I'm not out just running and showing everybody that wants to look at a house. So when I do my buyer consult, I find out, you know, are they looking to move in a year? If they are, we're not going to go meet same day. But if I have somebody that's willing to talk to a lender, get their pre-approval, then to me, they've got something in it that we're not just out looking at houses just to look at houses, because I don't do that.
Are you doing the buyer consult over the phone, or are you making them come in, or is it like virtual, like over Zoom? Like what's like a typical thing, like just like as real as it gets?
So for me, I do just over the phone. I do a consult, and then kind of at the first meeting, you have a more, I guess, formalized, but on my first phone call, I'm getting all the information that I need, what they're looking for, when they're wanting to move, why do they want to move, what price range, you know, so you're not out, if you have somebody that wants a $500,000 house and you're showing $1 million houses, I mean, it's not going to work.
Okay, so you're doing a buyer consult over the phone. So you're not just jumping in your car. They didn't just say, I want to see 123 Main Street, and you're like, awesome, let's go. You're getting down to it, right? And you're doing the buyer consult. You're asking if they're pre-approved. If they're not, what happens if they're not pre-approved? What's your script there? What happens?
So I let them know that right now in our market that we're running into a lot of multiple offers. So if we go out and we look at this home and you're not pre-approved, the chance is by the time you get approved, that house will be gone. So to eliminate that, I get them in contact with the lender, get them pre-approved, and then we go look. I have really good lender partners that typically they'll get somebody approved same day. So we're not missing out on houses.
What happens when they push back and they're like, I'm not ready to, I just want to go look at houses. I don't want to get approved right now. Does that ever happen?
It does. I've had that happen. And again, I just go over, you know, our market, and that house won't be there by the time they get approved. If it's somebody that's like that, I'm not going to change my schedule or run out and show them the same day if they're not going to, I guess, basically have enough respect for me that I'm out spending my time just to talk to a lender and get approved.
Okay. Thank you for that. You know, so what it sounds like to me is you've built a business big enough to where you value your time, and you have, and if somebody doesn't want to follow your process, and it's not a crazy process, it's like, hey, I just want you to like talk to a lender, then you're not going to give them all this time and day. So then you don't become resentful later of the time that you spent with them. Is that pretty accurate?
It is, yes. I mean, I have enough people and clients coming in that if they won't do that for me, I'm not the agent for them, because I don't want to be just running out opening doors and just showing them pretty houses when there's no, if they can't buy, or if it's just, they're not ready.
So you're
because my time's valuable too. I mean, I have a lot of stuff I could be doing, and if I'm not just randomly showing houses to somebody, that's taking away from me, and I'm not, and taking away times that I could be calling or doing something to reach my goal.
Oh, sorry, go Sarissa.
I was thinking, you know, yesterday you didn't have any appointments, then you had 4, you got all 4 of those people out and you wrote 3 offers. When you're in the house, what does that script sound like when you're asking them, you know, because that was a quick conversion. So how did that combo go?
Well, 3 of them only showed 1 house, so it was pretty simple. So I mean, again, I go back to, if they like the house, that we can't sleep on it. There's no more, well, I'm gonna go home and sleep on this house, because when you go home and you sleep on it, somebody else comes in and that's their dream home. While you're dreaming, they took the home. So, and you just kind of have to show them pain. I mean, if they love the house, you've got to connect them like to what they love, so that they'll move forward and not wait.
I love that. At what point?
I always just tell them like stories with their clients.
At what point, Cecelia, do you ask for a buyer rep?
Oh, you're gonna hate me for this one. I'm so non-traditional, so I don't ever get a buyer's rep signed until we're under contract and it's my office needs it for compliance. I just, for me, the way that I explain to people, if I go test drive a new car, I don't want to sign that contract without testing out the car. So I may not want to work with that client. So I don't want to be tied to them and have a contract that I have to work with somebody that I may not like. For me, I've only lost 1 buyer my whole career due to a buyer's rep. And it was honestly somebody that probably I didn't want to work with. So it's not, to me, I don't have to do them.
And here's what I see about you, just from being in the business a long time, is it's you already value your time. You have an incredible expertise, in my opinion, from talking with you. You come across as a professional. You help people identify what they want, right? And so if you were showing me a property, Cecelia, I would want to work with you, whether I signed something or not. Like, you would be my agent, because that's what you exude to me. So for everyone on our call, like, essentially, like, that's your goal, is to become that person, to where like you'd work with this person whether you had a signed agreement or not, right? And
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
You're not showing 30 houses. Like, you have built your skill to where you're showing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 homes, not 30. And so a lot of us get that buyer rep signed often because we have not built a skill to dig in, and we don't have the confidence to, when somebody says, oh, now I want to see a $500,000 house, even though I'm approved for $350, we don't usually say, whoa, we're actually not going to do that. Let's talk about that, right? And so we need a buyer's rep to protect us oftentimes. So talk on that a little bit.
I mean, that's what I was going to dig in and say. And Cecelia, like, because she's converting them so fast from the time she meets them until the time they're writing a contract. Oftentimes, like, what happens when you've drug it out so long, they start talking to their friends and then other realtors, and then and then those other people are plugging in, well, you should meet with my friend. And then people get stolen away, or they start thinking, we don't know what we're doing because we've taken 5 months to find them a house. And so then they start questioning whether or not we know our stuff. What it sounds to me like is they can see that you know your stuff. And like Adelina said, you come across as a professional, and you've shortened that time period so quickly that, like, it's almost not necessary. In your world, it's not necessary. Is that a correct statement?
It is.
Would you add anything to that?
And just having a strong buyer consultation, and like I said, knowing what they want. So again, if they come back and say, I want to look at a 2-bedroom home when they need a 4 because they have 6 kids, it's kind of like, what changed? And it's just having that heart to heart and telling them, like, we don't want to be just going out and looking at houses. If you want to go just look at houses, go to open houses. Like, if it's not, if you just want to go see a $500,000 house, then go to an open house. I'm not just going to go open doors and show. And my clients respect me for being that way because I'm very honest with them. And so far, I mean, I've had a couple get upset, but they get over it and they call me back. So,
you know what this reminds me of, Sarissa? This reminds me of, when Ben says the seller guide is for you, not for me. Like Ben always says, I could go and take listings with a piece of blank paper and a Sharpie, and I would still outdo all of you guys without like all the fancy collateral, without all of the seller guides and all the stuff that like we always ask for, right? Like, and I'm the first one who asks for stuff. So I'm pointing the finger at me. Because at the end of the day, like that stuff, the buyer rep, the seller guide, all of that extra stuff is because we're not at that confidence level yet to like move people through the process like pretty much instantly versus just dragging it out, like Sarissa said, for a month or 2 or 3, not having the confidence, not building the rapport fast enough to where they're ours to begin with, right? Like, and there's exceptions, but what you've mastered is the rapport and the professionalism and them wanting to work with you regardless is what I hear.
Yes. And you're getting them, what I heard you say earlier is, number 1, you're calling people. You have lots of people to call. You're setting the appointment when you can on the first call. You're getting in front of them ASAP. So all the things, this is how you're able to literally write 3 offers for 3 different people that you met that day. Like it's amazing. Super cool.
Cecelia, I have a question from Amanda in Austin. She asked once they're under contract, so now they're under contract, how often are you talking to those clients? And how do you handle like the buyers and the sellers who like kind of want to talk every day? Like how's your process with that?
So for me, I set my expectations with my clients up front. I let them know that typically I take Fridays off. And that's just my family day and my day to just kind of clear my mind. Once we go under contract, I call them weekly. If they have an emergency or what they feel is an emergency or they need something right now, they can text me, email me, they can call. If I'll get back to them. And then I also have my transaction coordinator he's also in communication with them weekly and is kind of behind the scenes and takes over once I have somebody under contract.
So you never have anybody who wants more communication than weekly?
I do, but on those, I just try to, like I said, setting expectations in the beginning. I don't have people that want to call and talk to me like every day.
Can you give us an example of like how you would set that expectation? So like, let's say I'm a buyer. Like, what would your conversation sound like with me?
So for me, when we first meet and then we decide we're going to make an offer, I go over kind of what to expect. We're going to do the offer. We'll do the inspection. After the inspection, I'll call you every Friday, or Thursday to check in. I'm not available after 7 p.m. If it's an emergency, you can call, text, and I'll get back to you. And then just letting them know that Tyler's available if I'm not to answer any questions. And that kind of eliminates when we have people that don't understand the process or they just want to call and talk, because a lot of my clients turn into really good friends. And so then it's like, okay, I've got a client and I've got somebody that's one of my best friends. And so you just have to juggle that. But I also do let everybody know too, from my family, pretty much from 9 to 12, I'm lead generating. And so that's
okay. So
my habit.
That's a good segue into another question that we have from Jennifer from DFW. You primarily work a lot of internet leads, right? And so do you have that set lead gen time, or do you like get on them as soon as they come in? Like, what does that look like in your world today?
So today I'm like Sarissa said, I need to get my next hire as an ISA because I do have a lot of leads coming in. Typically on the new ones, I do try to call or text immediately, and then just set them up on the plan. And then it's just, I call the new ones first, and I do my follow-ups for the day after I contact the new ones. But typically I want the new ones called within 5 minutes that they come in.
And also, guys, like, we thought about merging Cecilia's privity database into ours just so that we were all like in one little hub. And Ben was like, what's her login? And he literally logged in and he was like, yeah, no, that girl has so many market reports, listing alerts, good data in there. Like, she has a strong database. She takes good notes, all the things. And he was like, we ain't messing with that, because if we transfer it over, we're losing all that. We got to reset it up. So the other thing I want you to hear is that her database is working for her. Privity is working for her. The market reports, the listing alerts, she doesn't mess around. So, you know, that's also why they're continuing to feel like she's there.
So, and I'll tell you another kind of just like a hack that I learned is when I go into like privity and I'm looking at a lead and I see that they viewed a house like 10 times or 5 times, I shoot them a text and say, hey, I was looking online and I found this house for you. Do you want to see it? And they don't know that we can see what they're doing. And so then they're just like, oh my gosh, like, you are the market expert. Like, yeah, I want to go see this house tomorrow at 12. And it's like, great. So just doing little stuff like that.
Oh my God, I love, hey, I saw this house. I thought it'd be a good fit for you. I'm gonna go see it. Somebody write that down, because how many millions of times do you guys call to check in, or you like say something else and you're using the system and making yourself sound smart. I actually love you called it out on that house.
Like, wait, Ben always says, you know what they're looking at, sound smart. He's like, be smart, say something smart. That is smart, right? Like,
I saw that you were looking at 123 Main Street. Like, I saw this house. Okay, quick question for you, Cecelia. Do you use auto plans?
Yes. Listing alerts, auto plans. So yes, listing alerts are huge. And even if you have to do just like a basic search, you don't know what they're looking for, set it up. And another thing that I've learned too is emojis. People love emojis. And so when I set up the search, I throw some emojis in there, and it catches their attention, because they're not just getting a listing alert that says your new home at blah, blah, blah. It's, you've got a cute little smiley face and a house, or it's just something that catches their eye, so that it's not just a normal, it looks like just another email. And so they open it to see what it is.
We usually stop right at 9:15. I'm gonna like just prolong this just for 10 more minutes, because I just want to dig in just a second. Auto plans, which ones are you using? Like, what? Tell us a little bit about that. Anything specific?
So for me, I use 10 Days of Pain a lot, and I've been doing that. I mean, I've been following Ben and stalking him forever, and so that's kind of something I've implemented in my business a long time ago, was doing that.
Okay, so I mean, this is family, so we can talk about this. It sounds to me like you might be using our own systems better than we are, and you guys, like, as a leader of this organization, I am embarrassed. Like, Cecelia, thank you so much for like just saying like, this is what I do and it works, and like, you guys actually just need to do it because it'll work, so get to it. Like, but you said it in so much nicer language, and I'm glad you said it and not me. That's actually very very cool. So you're not going out and like imagining the whole world. You're using listing alerts, market reports. Okay, can we get real for a second? Like, Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday or whatever your schedule is, like, how often are you actually doing lead gen? Because you're a busy girl.
So that is in my calendar, and even my family knows if it's in my calendar, it's going to be done. One of the things too that I love is the privity dialer. You can do that even while you're driving. I mean, it's super simple. You can call 200 people in an hour. And so I use the dialer a lot. Mojo too. You can do that with the triple dialer and knock out a ton of calls. But I consistently lead gen daily, at least 3 hours. Or I'll set a contact, 100 contacts, or until I set 3 appointments. Once I do that, I'm done. Because my goal is to run 1 appointment per day except for Fridays, and so I do 2 on Saturday.
Okay.
Like when she's up here at the office, she literally sits there and she's calling, and she sounds this calm, cool, collected, non-salesy, non-scripted, like she's just her. And I think people can see that what you see is what you get, and they like that and they trust that, right? Versus if we're trying to be somebody else, Cecelia's just being her. I'm gonna be real too here for a sec. Cecilia's only done like 1 open house in her entire life, which normally I would not like brag on that. But what my point because that's a part of the plan, right? It's part of the model. However, you guys can see that she consistently does what she does well. And she's and like we've talked about, she mastered this and she does it consistently. So like, as she grows her team, we've been discussing, girlfriend, what if you actually leveraged now your team to do open houses, and success can be through other people. So I don't know. I just think so many times we try to do all the things, and therefore, like Cecelia said, we don't really do any of them well. It's just really neat to see.
Cecelia, do you want to wrap us up? Like, if you had any advice for us, like, what would that sound like? What do you want to share with us that you haven't shared already?
So for me, it's just find something that you like to do or love to do, and then master that. Don't try to do 20 things at once, because you're going to get frustrated at the end of the day. You're not going to do it. And make a goal. And every month I can tell you where I'm at number-wise and where I need to be. And like next month, my goal is 10. If I don't do 10, I'll be doing 15 in July. So I know your numbers, and then get a coach, have an accountability partner, have somebody, and have your why. That's the biggest thing for me, is why do you want to do this, and why is it so important? Because some days I want to call 100 people, but I have people that are depending on me, so I'm going to do it even when I don't want to.
It sounds like you are very clear on your why, but what I also heard you say is you take your business very seriously, Cecelia. Like, you're coming across very laid back and cool, and I want to be your friend, but at the same time, like, this is a business for you, and you wake up in the morning knowing this is a business for you. This is not a hobby. You don't wake up when you want to. You don't show up when you feel like it. Like, you're showing up like this is your business. Would that be accurate for you?
It is, yes. And one thing too about last year, 67, only worked 6 months last year. So if I would have worked a full year, and I always reach, like, my goal last year was 60, I did 67. This year it's 100, so I'm hoping to hit 110. So and also always know my numbers.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Sarissa.
I was just going to say, you guys don't know this, and I don't think this is the time and place to go into this. However, Cecelia had a lot of things go on in the last year that could have been excuses. She could have sat in the muck. She could have, she could have made a lot of reasons why she shouldn't get back to lead gen, why this isn't going to work out, and she doesn't stay there. She's not a victim. And I'm just, as you guys get to know her and know her story, I think you're going to see, like, she shows up because she wants to and she needs to, and she doesn't, a lot of us can make excuses, and you can have reasons or results. You can't have both, right? She clearly has results.
I love that, because all of us on this call today have a pretty big reason not to hit our goals this year, right? Like, we just went through 2 months of like a pandemic, right? Like, we all have reasons why our goals are not attainable this year, right? And so, Cecelia, it was so awesome to hear that you did hit your goals and you powered through. talk to me really quick, like what does a typical week look like? Because I heard you say that you set goals for your week. Like what are some of your goals, just so that we can see what it looks like to be at your level?
So for me, for a week, I need 250 contacts. That's not just calls, that's actual people that I talk to. Out of that, my goal is to have 1 appointment per day, and then Saturday 2 appointments. Usually on Saturdays I have more than that, but and so those are just kind of, and if I don't reach my goal, I'm going to call more the next days to where I can get my appointments.
So a lot of us are hearing like, wow, like you go on a lot of appointments. What I just heard is, wow, you talk to a lot of people, therefore you go on a lot of appointments.
Mm-hmm. And right now, I know it's and everything. I mean, but that's a good reason to call. And people are still buying and selling. I mean, there's agents that are, I mean, there's still houses going on the market. There's still houses going under contract. So right now is a perfect time to call people. Call your database, check on them. Do they need anything? Do they need groceries? Do they need a light bill paid? I mean, I've been doing that too. And just, you know, it's there, or send a group text to everybody that you know and just, hey, just thinking about you. And you're going to get a lot from that because again, people are going to think that, I mean, I truly care about all my people. And I don't ever come from desperation that I need to have this house sell. Because you have a lot of agents that do that too. And you're pushing people like not to buy because they see that you're desperate, that you need money. And so that they can see that and sense that and just be their friend and help them. And you're going to go really far if you do that and just truly care about people.
I love that. What is your goal for this year? Like overall goal? Wrap us up with that.
So my goal this year is 100 closed transactions. I want to have, or I will have, an ISA, a showing assistant, and a buyer's agent.
Okay, and how are you tracking for that 100 right now?
So I keep everything. I guess I don't have it with me. I have a calendar that has my day basically mapped out from the time I get up until I go to bed. I have all my appointments, and then I'll also keep track of all of my like hot buyers so that I know that I'm constantly calling and keeping in contact with those people. And I usually run anywhere from 20 to 40 hot buyers at a time.
How many are you closed so far and how many pending?
This year I've closed 21 and I have 4 pending. And I will say, and I'm not making an excuse, I lost my mother in February, and so I took a little bit of time, but I'm rebuilding and I will still hit my goal for this year.
Good for you. You're an inspiration to us. We appreciate your time so much, Cecelia. I know Sarissa and I would love to have you back like further on and during the year when you're tracking for your goal. We want to hear everything you've been doing to rebuild, like you just said, like you're having to like make up some time right now. And so I know I'd love to hear how that's going for you. For everyone.
I was just going to say, maybe one of these days that Cecelia is in here, she would allow us to like put her on Zoom and just, she does her thing lead generating and you guys can, you know, listen in. Maybe she'd be up for that. Of course. Because I think it would bless all of us to just hear how she does lead gen.
That's a great idea. I love that idea. Sarissa, let's connect on that and let's make that happen. I actually love that with Cecilia's, you know, permission and desire to do that, I guess. We just voluntold you to. So Cecelia, thank you so much. Thanks for everybody who's on. The next person we're going to have on, I want you to write this in your calendar. We'll send out calendar invites, but June 4th, we're going to have Judy from Midland on. And Judy sold 55 properties last year. She has 4 kids and a full-time job. So I am really excited to hear what her process is like, right? All of us have a process, right? And what I want you to get out of this is Sarissa and I are bringing you people, Laura and I are bringing you people for you to identify with because there's a lot of ways to succeed in real estate, guys. Like Cecelia found one way and she hammers it, right? At first, when I heard internet leads, I was like, oh, okay, that's cute. But guys, 250 contacts a week. I'd be happy for any of you to do 250 contacts a week from like any source. I don't care.
You can have the same results doing 250 contacts a week through open houses, through your sphere, like contacts. She's talking to 250 people. All of us will have those results if we would just freaking do that.
I think it's amazing. So I'm really excited to have we've had a lot of power women. We're gonna get some guys, I promise. But I'm excited to see you guys June 4th again. And I'll leave you guys with that. I hope you have an amazing weekend. I know everybody's phone's starting to blow up, so I'll let you get to the lead gen. Thank you for being on. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks, Cecelia.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys. You're welcome.
Thank you, Cecelia.
Much.
You're welcome.
Cecilias Goals. She's awesome.
And she's so quiet about it.